Good morning. My name is Kristen Wilcock, and I am a licensed practitioner here at Columbus Center for Spiritual Living, and it is my pleasure to lead you in this morning's meditation. Begin by allowing yourself to sit comfortably. Close your eyes and begin to allow yourself to relax. Take in a nice, big, deep breath, and as you breathe out, let go of any tension that you may be experiencing. Take another deep breath in. Feel the muscles in your body relaxing and softening. And as you exhale, realize that you are able to easily release all anxiety and frustration. Now take in one more deep breath and feel your body begin to let go, noticing how good it feels to totally relax. And then gently exhale once again, and just allow yourself to sink into a totally relaxed state. As you fully let go, simply focus on the rhythm of your breathing and on my words. Everything in the universe is always in motion. Even the objects that seem to be motionless are in fact vibrating at various frequencies, including you and me. All matter is made up of atoms, super small particles that we can't even see with the most advanced microscopes. And those tiny particles are rapidly moving around. They are vibrating. Today, we are going to focus on our vibrations. Think for a minute and try to remember, how does it feel when you are happy? How does your body feel? How does this state impact your productivity? Does it affect the way you communicate with people? Does it impact how you show up in the world? And now recall how you feel when you are worried, sad, or angry. Do you feel heavy? Does this feeling expand within you and bring frustration and a sense of being stuck? All of these feelings are our different vibrations. We all vibrate at different frequencies at all times. The lower our vibration, the heavier our energy. And the opposite is also true. Vibrating at a high frequency makes you feel lighter, happier, and full of love. You are more inclined to see the positive things in life. And that opens you up to the flow. It opens you up to feelings of abundance, peacefulness, love. Our reality is a product of our thoughts, a product of our vibration. High vibration manifests positive results. Today's theme is, and still I rise. In a spiritual sense, we are talking about raising our vibration, finding that frequency of love and peace and harmony that is always just there waiting for us to tap into it. In Science of Mind, there is a saying, change your thinking, change your life. By learning to control our thoughts, we can control our vibration. We can rise to higher and higher frequencies. We can vibrate at the frequency of love. The sense of gratitude is one of the easiest ways to boost your vibration. You can think of what you might be thankful for, It might be the blue sky you can see from your window, or the beautiful flower that is sitting on your desk, or the smell of coffee that you make in the comfort of your home. There are so many things to be grateful for. Another way to raise your vibration is to feel love. Think about someone you love. Imagine this person sitting next to you and just share and expand that feeling. And the most powerful way to control your vibration is to learn to control your thoughts. If the thoughts you think are pessimistic, anxious, or in any way harmful, just let those thoughts go and instead focus on something positive. That's the key to positive change. So for the next few minutes, I invite you to raise your vibration. I invite you to rise. You can choose the method that works best for you. Focus on gratitude, or focus on someone you love, or simply let thoughts flow in and out. And if a negative thought surfaces, simply choose a positive thought to replace it. You always have these spiritual tools available to you. When you feel like your vibration is low, you can choose to raise your vibration at any time through these simple spiritual practices. You have the power. Simply tap into this sacred energy that is always right there within you and rise. When you are ready and when it feels right to you, take a nice deep breath. And when you breathe out, gently open your eyes. Namaste.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu es l'image de Dieu. I hold you in my heart. Tu es l'image de l'amour. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu sei la luce di Dio. I hold you in my heart. Tu sei il volto dell'amore. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of God. The face of God. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are a part of me. A part of me. You are the face of God. The face of God. You I hold you in my heart.
Eres la cara del amor.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face.
Tu sei la luce di Dio.
You are the face.
You are the face of God.
You are the face
Tu
of
es
God.
l'image de Dieu.
You are the face.
You are the face of God.
You are the face
Tu
of
sais
God.
la luz de Dios.
You are the face
You
of
are the face of God.
God. You are the face
Tu
of God.
ruh est Khudayi.
You are the face
You
of God.
are the face of God.
You are the face of God.
Eres la luz de Dios.
You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
Tu es l'image de Dieu.
I hold you in my heart.
Tu es l'image de l'amour.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
Tu sei la luce di Dio.
I hold you in my heart.
Tu sei il volto dell'amore.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love.
The face of love.
I hold you in my
hold you in my heart.
You are my family.
You are my family.
You are the face
You
of
are the face of love.
You are the face of
You
love.
are the face of love.
I hold you in my
hold you in my heart.
You are my family.
You are my family.
You are the face of love.
The face of love.
You are the face of God.
The face of God.
I hold you in my
hold you in my heart.
You are a part of face of God, the face of God. You are the face of God.
Eres la luz de Dios.
I hold you in my heart.
Eres la cara del amor.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face
Tu sei la luce di Dio.
You are the face
You are the face of God.
You are the face
Tu
of
es
God.
l'image de Dieu.
You are the face
You
of
are the face of God.
You are the face
Tu
of
sei
God.
la luz de Dios.
You are the face
You
of God.
are the face of God.
You are the face
Tu
of
ruh
God.
est خدایی.
You are the face
You
of God.
are the face of God.
You are the face of God.
Eres la luz de Dios.
You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
Tu es l'image de Dieu.
I hold you in my heart.
Tu es l'image de l'amour.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
Tu sei la luce di Dio.
I hold you in my heart.
Tu sei il volto dell'amore.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of
You
love.
are the face of love.
I hold you in my
Hold
heart.
you in my heart.
You are my family.
You are my family.
You are the face
You
of
are the
love.
face of love.
You are the face of
You
love.
are the face of love.
I hold you in my
I hold
heart.
you in my heart.
You are my family.
You are my family.
You are the face of love.
The face of love.
You are the face of
You are
God.
the
face of God. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are a part of me. Part of me. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God.
Eres la luz de Dios.
I hold you in my heart.
Eres la cara del amor.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You
Good morning. Welcome to the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Reverend Amy Papadoupolo, and I will be giving you the announcements for today. Everyone in the Zoom room, everyone is invited to the Zoom room for Sunday celebration. And also our services are being live streamed to our YouTube channel at Columbus CSL. Please feel free to share our services from our YouTube channel to your own Facebook page. For everyone else Zooming with us today, please feel free to turn on your videos so we can see each other, but please remember to keep yourselves muted. Thank you. So for the announcements, we are holding hybrid announcements through this summer. And this morning is our very last planned service on Zoom. In October, our plans are to meet in person and going forward throughout the rest of the year. But of course, we will be monitoring all of the COVID-19 mandates to keep us all safe. Currently, masks are required at our Sunday services due to the Columbus mask mandate. And please view your CCSL e-newsletter for our schedule. Thank you to everyone that brought in donations for our new community outreach opportunity with Justice, Unity, and Social Transformation. We're asking you to join us as we volunteer to gather donation items to support Just with this distribution of gifts to the Hilltop community in October. The box will be at the center to collect donations when we begin to meet in person every Sunday, next Sunday. We also need volunteers for Saturday, October 16th from 11 till 2 to distribute and help out for Just. Matt Vidal is leading the CCSL effort. So if serving the Columbus community calls to you, please reach out to Matt. His email is matthewvidal@gmail.com. That's MATTHEW.VIDAL@gmail.com. We are excited to share our upcoming October celebrations as we return to an all in-person service. On October 3rd, next Sunday, we'll have our grand homecoming celebration, which will include a ritual to celebrate and to honor our return to full-time in-person community. On October 10th, we're excited to announce that the internationally known team of Melissa and Z will be our guest speakers and our featured musicians. Look for more information on their Oh My God Life workshop offering and the CCSL e-newsletter. Melissa and Z's visit is being sponsored by Lotus Flower Living Holistic Counseling, owned by one of our very own practitioners, Julie Matheson. If you have a suggestion, a comment, or feedback, we're interested. Please email us at ccslsuggestionbox@gmail.com. And as always, if you would like prayer after service or anytime throughout this week, you can find our prayer practitioners on our website, columbuscsl.org, or you can submit a prayer request on our Facebook page. Our practitioners love to pray. And I'm just going to insert one other, we don't have a slide for it, but I am going to insert one other announcement because it's important. One of our beloved community members who has been part of this community since we began in March of 2008, made her transition Friday night. That was Cindy Aladith. She transitioned on Friday night. We will have a gathering to honor her at the center this coming Saturday morning from 11 to 12. More information will be coming out about that. We'll send a separate email out, and we'll also we'll get your information out. So please hold Cindy and her family in your hearts as they go through this difficult time. So that is the news for today. Please join us in singing our opening song, Rise Up by Andra Day. Thank you for bearing with us here for a moment. Our video broadcaster is working fervently. And how about I just take a moment and play this. One moment, please.
I'm tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out.
Sorry, guys.
Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again.
The Fab Five is going gold.
It is over. Misty and Carey, three-peat Olympic gold.
Can Lochte come up on Phelps? Phelps holding him up, and Michael Phelps is gonna win gold.
The silence is quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains, and I'll rise up. I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again.
David Godiah has won gold. It's Trotter in front. Richard Ross trying to catch her. Here comes the finish. Richard Ross wins it. I have a gold medal in the singles.
All we need is hope, and for that we have each other, and for that we have each other. And we will rise, we will rise, so we will rise. We'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. up in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again, and we'll rise up. I like the waves. We'll rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again.
Good morning. What an inspirational song to start the morning, to start the week with. Welcome to the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Margie Sammons. I'm a practitioner here and a ministerial intern, and it's my pleasure to honor you today. We, by having you here, we are honored. So we are an inclusive organization. We honor you wherever you are on your path to God. Thanks for joining us on Zoom or on our YouTube channel at Columbus CSL. If you've not subscribed, please do so. And remember to give us a thumbs up. We're going to start our service because, as many of you know, we're searching for a new senior minister. And to continue to hold the consciousness, to bring that new minister to us, we have our sacred covenant prayer. So please feel free to say this along with me, or to allow my words to be your words as I share our new CCSL, new minister community prayer. I know Spirit expresses itself through each person as the one perfect life that is God's life. I recognize God is loving, gracious, abundant, and wise. And these qualities of Spirit are my qualities, as well as the qualities of the whole Columbus Center for Spiritual Living community. I know the power of affirmative prayer, and I claim by faith and mindful action that Spirit now guides our new senior minister to CCSL. I claim my new minister is a revelation of God as wholeness. I see our chairs filled with people and families who are attracted and inspired to science of mind and spirit, and our new minister inspiring us to be our best expression of spirit within us. I affirm now our new minister helps CCSL grow and prosper, knowing that God resides in each of us and that we are co-creating with Spirit to fulfill our mission of making the world a place that works for everyone. I am thankful our prayers and affirmations bring this new minister to CCSL. I am grateful that we are building a strong and loving community of people who embrace love, wisdom, and the freedom to be a wise and loving expression of the One. I release this community prayer into the law, knowing that it is already done. And so it is. Now, please read our mission statement along with me. We serve the transformation of individual lives through education, spiritual practice, and deep community, using spirit and science of mind principles as our compass. I'd like to thank practitioner Kristen Wilcox for that beautiful meditation this morning and for holding virtual high watch for our service today. And now I would like to reintroduce Reverend Amy as our Reverend Amy on the platform today. Reverend Amy?
Thank you, Margie. I'm looking for my spot here in our, yes. With the ringing of the bowl, we begin our sacred service. So I would like to introduce our community member, Robin Brookhouse, who will be giving us the reading this morning.
Good
Robin?
morning, everybody. Excuse me. Today's reading is from Maya Angelou's classic poem, Still I Rise. This poem is the namesake for this week's theme. Though it was written in response to a specific cultural experience, African American, like all great poetry, it articulates universal truth. The refrain of Still I Rise is the heartbeat of truth, proclaiming that there is within each of us that which is unstoppable, inexhaustible, inextinguishable, unchangeable, that which we call God, spirit, divine, intelligence, that in which we live, move, and have our being. That which rises in us as us can never be oppressed. Like a tender sprig of green pushing up through the concrete sidewalk, life rises as us always. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. So now let's take a moment of silence together. And please join with me as I speak our opening prayer, allowing my words to become your words. As I go to that place where I know that I know that I know that there is only one source, only one power, only one presence. And today I call this one God. And what I know, trust, and believe about God is that it is perfect love, perfect light, perfect wholeness, and vitality, and abundance, and well-being, and grace. And because there is only one power and one presence, I have to be one with this one. I have to be an emanation of this power and this presence. And so it's from this unification that I speak my word right here and right now, claiming that this service is exactly what I need and want today to remind myself of who I am. I give great thanks that my heart is open, that my mind is open, that my ears are open. I give great thanks that this is exactly where I know I'm supposed to be by divine right appointment this morning. And I speak a word of blessing on our guest speaker, Vicki, and on the technology as she shares that truth from Science of Mind to all of us that we are here for. I say thank you, knowing this service is complete, knowing we get what we have come here for. I let it go, I let it be, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Reverend Amy. It is my great honor to introduce a fellow student at the Holmes Institute of Spiritual Leadership. I'm introducing Vicki Jeter. She's a practitioner emeritus. She's been a practitioner for 32 years, and she's currently serving at the Louisville Center for Spiritual Living in Kentucky. She's also a prenatal and perinatal educator, which is all about infant consciousness in the journey of spirit coming into human being through conception, gestation, and birth. Her passion is sharing, teaching, and modeling how spiritual principles apply in every relationship and experience of life to build our dreams from the very beginning. So, Miss Vicki Jeter, thank you.
I came unmute. I'm so excited. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Thank you, Margie, for that lovely introduction. And thank you, everyone, for the beginning of the service. It was just truly lovely to sink into all the different aspects that were happening and the music between the meditation and the beginning of service. I just really appreciate it. And so first, I want to say, we know the saying, we teach what we need to learn. And the theme for this month is reaching higher. And last month, the theme was taking a pause. I don't know if you might remember that, but last month, I was the speaker for Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. And the last week of the month was to rise and reemerge. So I did rise and reemerge at the end of August, and then you switch to a new month and there's like this new theme. And the theme this month went from taking the pause to reaching higher. Makes sense. So then how this came about that I get to be here today, as Margie said, I am a student at Holmes Institute, fellow student, and they put out a call for speakers, and that is a blessing to me because we have to do practicums. We have to, demonstrate that we know what we're doing. And so I was very tickled to see that there was this call to come and be the speaker. And it just occurred to me that you all might be following the national theme. So I go to look up the national theme, and what do I see? But still I rise. And I'm thinking, okay, so clearly I have more to learn about rising because we did rise and reemerge, and then my week ends up being still I rise. And so I really want to thank Margie for being so gracious and helping me to orchestrate this and be here today so comfortably. And so I want to do a little preview of what we're going to talk about today, because indeed, there is a great deal to talk about in the rises and falls in our lives. And so the first thing that I want to look at is the spiritual principle of the creative process that has to do with this whole rising and falling thing, because there's really a universal principle behind it that when we can tap into that and perhaps change our perspective on the dance floor of how we rise and fall in life, it can become actually an ally. It can become a resource for us. And so then once we take a look at that in principle, then I have a few stories to share that will demonstrate how that applies. And then we'll take a look at how to make use of that in your lives. And so the first thing is, and I was so tickled with Kristen's meditation because the first thing she said is, everything vibrates. Okay. And so if you think about all of your senses and all the ways that we relate to the world around us, if you could measure it, you would see, certainly we know that sounds vibrate. And if you put sound on a monitor, you'll see it has rises and falls, right? There's the notes and then there's the silence between the notes. And if you could see that, you would see it rises and falls. And even solid things, if solid things are shaking, such as in an earthquake, you see it registers and rise and falls. And we look the waves of the ocean rise and fall and rise and fall. And so the thing of it is that rising and falling is the movement of life. So if you take a yin yang, which as we know in Eastern traditions is like a representation for the universal that almost everyone can relate to if you sit with it for long enough. If you take a yin yang and you roll it on its side, what you see is that you have the high side, that's the white, and then you have the dark side. And then each one of them has the little circle in the middle that shows the balance. And between them is the S curve. which is the rise and fall. And so that rise and fall is an aspect of spirit. That's how spirit moves in life. That's part of how we have this paradox that we're all one and we're boundless and there's no limits. But as expressions of spirit, there are limits. There's limits to our bodies. There's limits to everything that we do that allow for this thing that we call experience, because without those limits, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And so it's necessary that there be this distinction that we have, that it seems like there's a duality. And in part of that duality, as it moves, there's a rising and a falling. And so one of the ways to realize how to begin making a shift in understanding this, Sir Francis Bacon in the 1500s, it was like in 1540, he was like one of the premier physicists, if you will, even though they didn't know to call them physicists at the time. Sir Francis Bacon said, in order to command a law, which we do as religious scientists, we know that we're co-creators with this power and presence. In order to command a law, you must first obey it. And what that means is that the universe has this intelligence that does what it does in moving. And a part of what it does is it rises and falls. And so when we realize, hey, life is going to rise and fall, the energies of our lives are going to do that. The sun comes up and then the sun goes down. And we all have that rhythm in our lives. The difference is, like Sir Francis Bacon said, do we work with that rhythm? And then as we work with it and learn how it works, then we can get it to work for us, or are we fighting against it? So when the natural rhythm of our life is on a downslope, are we trying to force it to go up? And how many of us have said in consciousness, so you have an enlightened moment, how many of us have said, oh my gosh, I've got it. I know I'm one. I can feel it. I'm there. I'm going to stay there, and I'm not ever going to dip down into the human trivialities again, right? We want to say that we're going to hit a peak and we're just not going to do a dip again. But what happens? Life dips again. Something happens and something changes, and then there we go. So one of the ways I want to invite you to think about this, and this is just for your consideration because this is a choice, is we tend to say, like if we've been through quite a few ups and downs in a go and someone says, oh, how are you doing? You might say, oh my gosh, it's been a roller coaster, right? And it seems like we're just on that ride, and oh my gosh, you hardly handle the heights, and then we can't hardly handle the really fast dips. But another way to look at this is that we can become soul surfers. We can learn that the energies are going to rise and fall. And as we accept that, and we know there's going to be rises and falls, but it doesn't mean we have to be subject to them. We can work with them consciously. And so Reverend Dr. Jesse Jennings, who was my original minister, he's the minister that I trained under to become a practitioner in Houston, Texas. The way that he puts this is that all of the things that happen to us when we choose to be consciously in the spiritual classroom, they're all inspiring us to grow in consciousness, because no matter how we look at this in the world, it's happening in consciousness first. And it's not so much what's happening as it is what we do with it, which is what we're talking about. What's happening in life, in this plane of existence, life is going to rise and fall. It's about what we do with it and where we position ourselves, which starts in our consciousness. So with each opportunity that we have an opportunity to practice and raise our consciousness about how to work with what's happening. And Reverend Jesse says that the heights get higher and the lows get higher. That's as we learn. And so there's going to be peaks and valleys, but we don't have to get our back up to the wall anymore. We don't have to feel like, you know, we're taken just down to the bottom, because as we learn, there's highs and then there's lows. And so now, just a couple of stories about where this applies. When I learned about this in my life, I was in a dark night of the soul. I was going through a divorce, and it felt like everything had been taken away from me. And I knew that, you know, my life had become unmanageable and I needed help. I was in a true state of surrender. And we were at the beach. And at first, I was watching my nieces and nephews, and they're little, and they were playing with building a sandcastle. And I was watching them, and like me, it seemed like it was just all crazy. They were just all running everywhere and screaming and all this kind of stuff. And what was interesting to me, and this is what I finally caught, they were chasing after the waves and exhausting themselves, trying to fill this moat is what they were doing. They were trying to fill, they built a little moat and they were trying to fill the moat. And all of a sudden it dawned on me. I said, oh my God, I'm chasing my waves. I said, I have to stop and readjust myself to the natural rhythm of what's happening in my life. And I saw myself take my bucket and stand still and allow the wave to come in. And I didn't have to chase it. So the wave comes in, and while after the wave has come in, while it goes back out, I take my bucket and I go do what I choose to it and fill the moat. I don't have to chase those waves. And that's when I began to understand that. And so, and there's another little tale that I want to tell you about when this really hit me, that the cycle is going to be happening. This is universal, and this has been going on since eons of time. And so this comes from a man who wrote about this in depth and left us the keys to it in a little book called The Four Agreements. Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. I had the privilege at one point of transcribing an interview that he did with somebody. And in that interview, he told a story of a disciple of his, a follower of his. He and his father had a retreat center. And this young man was at the retreat center and doing the meditations and so forth that were prescribed to him. And one morning, he came down from where he had been meditating and came up to Don Miguel. He said, oh, Master, I'm so excited. I got there. I reached nirvana, and I know, and now I'm not going to have to struggle with this anymore. And Don Miguel celebrated with him, and he hugged him, and he said, oh, I'm so happy for you, and I understand, and good for you. And then he said, now your task is to start over and do it again. He said, it doesn't mean that you're not going to be down in the world. It doesn't mean you're not going to be living this process. It means it's yours to start at the beginning and rise again. And that's when I really, truly realized that the process of the fact that we have our peaks and our valleys, that's a God thing. And part of what we're challenged to do is learn to work with that. So I want to offer you, there's a movie that's a true story. If any of you have ever seen the movie called Soul Surfer, it's the true life story of Bethany Hamilton, who is a professional surfer. And it is a phenomenal story of rising again. And I won't belabor you with why that is, but it's called Soul Surfer. And I gravitate to that because that's the way that I think of this now. There is a scene in that movie where she is in a competition and she needs to catch this wave. And it doesn't look like there's going to be a good enough wave come, but her father told her, he said, you have the instinct. He said, you dip down deep into your soul and you listen to the atmosphere around you. You listen to the ocean, you listen to the waves, and you'll know when the one you need is coming. And then you intentionally go out and you catch that wave and you ride it in, which she ultimately did. And we can do that in our lives. So one of the things to think about is notice what is the rhythm of your rises and falls, because spirit works through each of us individually. It is a unified principle, and the principle is the same for everyone. But the way that it interacts with us is unique because the way we interact with it is unique. And so as you stand back objectively, as Don Miguel Ruiz says in the Four Agreements, not to take it personally, the way we rise and fall. The fact that your life rises and falls isn't about you. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong, that you've done something wrong, because there's a dip. And when we learn not to take it personally, and we can watch, okay, what's happening when I rise and what's happening when there's a dip? And how can I change my position with that to maximize the rises, like riding a wave? And then when I have the dips, I can know it doesn't have to mean that the sun's not going to rise again. At one time, way back in the eons, the people didn't know that springtime would come. And so they believed they had to do incredible rituals and prayer and all kinds of whatever to ensure that the spring would come back in the wintertime. And what changed about that was conscious awareness. Over time, men became consciously aware, oh, it's okay, it's a cycle. Winter comes, and then ultimately spring rises again. So it's the same kind of thing. When you can get to know your rhythms, when you can stand back objectively and watch the rhythms in your life and get comfortable with them, then it takes away that sense that there's something personal about me, because as we know, God is for us. And when you can let go of that feeling that because you're having a challenge, it must mean that life isn't for you, because it's a cycle, and we can work this through. And so I do have a couple of readings I would like to offer you from Science of Mind. I think I'm going to pull this up on my screen because I can see it better. This is what Ernest Holmes had to say. There's a couple of these. We know there is a divine intelligence, a creative power back of all things that operates in, through, and as most perfectly. Nothing is wasted. All is for my good. In this context, then, we face life's joys and challenges with equanimity, knowing all of our experiences are used by Spirit in the service of our greatest unfoldment. So that which was most devastating produced the texture and uniqueness in the work of art that is us. That which is felt unenduring becomes the crucible and the ballast that causes our smallest self to grow and rise, giving way to the greater good. That which was unbearable ushers forth the light, shining as you and serving as a holy beacon to the world. And then, despite the experience of obstacles and adversity, the way of life is always rising and expanding, always evolving toward the next highest good. Every part of our journey is useful and necessary for that which Spirit wants to express through you. Nothing is wasted. All is good. As you rise up unto a life that works, Spirit uses you to help others. This is how we ultimately create a world that works for everyone. So I want to invite you to perhaps become more diligent at the practice of how it feels not to take it personally, and to remember that the saying that I have for this is don't panic when the tide goes out. You know, when I reflect on what I learned from watching those kids and that you can work with the rhythms of the incoming and outgoing tides, I realized, you know, like the flow of my good, the flow comes in and we have more than we did before. And then, even though we say, okay, this is my good and I'm not ever going to lose it again, then the tide goes out. And our task is to practice not panicking when the tide goes out and realizing it does come back in. And there's a general tendency for greater and greater good each time that it does. And then getting to know your rhythms, practicing watching what happens and how it happens for you. And then the idea of, and this is again a choice, because sometimes it's fun to ride the roller coaster, you know, thinking about life as riding a roller coaster is someone else is driving, you know, you can hold your hands up and say, I'm just along for the ride. And there's a time for that. But when it gets to feeling like that context, I'm just on this roller coaster ride, is not working for you, then remember, you can take directive and you can say, I'm going to watch the waves coming. I'm going to stay in touch with my intuition, and I'm going to ride the waves with intention as a soul surfer. So let's just take a minute to breathe. I know that's a lot, and I just want to give everybody a chance to let that sink in a moment of stillness. Taking this time to open the space to practice what we practice and know what we know in affirmative prayer. I recognize that omnipresent spirit is already fulfilled in this, in, through, and as each person listening, in, through, and as Columbus Center for Spiritual Living as an overall community. For I know that spirit meets us where we show up. Thus, here I am, at the point of first cause. Here too is each person here present in their own way, in their own knowing, in their own relationship with spirit, in, through, and as themselves. And as spirit meets each one at that place of first cause, we are in unity in mind, heart, and soul. And from this alignment, I realize in my experience of Columbus Center for Spiritual Living and each and every person present here this morning, that the opportunity to recognize that as we rise as vessels of pure spirit that cannot miss. The law of God does not miss the highest and best possible opportunity. So very much as Kristen spoke in her meditation, recognizing that we're all vibrating and we have not only the choice, but we have the tools. We have the resources and consciousness to even more adeptly be conscious co-creators of what we would choose for ourselves, what we would choose for each other, and what we would choose within the world that works for everyone. It is being manifest as I speak. It is being manifest as each person is here present, taking their place in the overall fabric that is truly the larger vision of spirit that in human terms we cannot fully see there is always much more going on than we know. And so for this time, for this knowing, and for this opportunity, I am so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Presence of Life, for all of this and more. I just release it unto that which it is sent. I let it be, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Vicki. It's time now for the giving of our gifts. I want to thank everyone for the way you continue to support the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living during these times. Your donations are so important because it helps us to fulfill our vision of creating a world that works for everyone. We know that God is our source, and we are circulating Spirit's energy in the form of money by giving and receiving. There are many ways to give. You can text to give to 614-681-8616. You can visit our website, www.columbuscsl.org, and click on the donate button. You can mail your donations to our P.O. Box 14462 in Columbus, 43214, or you can actually set up auto pay through your bank, have your donation sent, and not worry about sending it every week or every month. So please say our affirmation with me for our offering. My gift goes forth to heal and bless and prosper. It does its good and perfect work and returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
When I dive into a deeper field of energy, when I have no eyes to see what lies ahead of me, I will be one with a vibration where boundless joy breeds wild elation. When I dive into a deeper field of energy, when I have exhausted human physicality, I will embrace my resurrection as I move through a new dimension. Don't you worry, don't you fret. Trust me, I got no regret at all. Into space and out of time, I find my wings and learn to fly from a free fall. When I dive into a deeper field of energy, when to leave my body has become what's best for me, I will feel from a fresh perception what I have known since my inception. So don't you worry, don't you fret. Trust me, I got no regret at all. Into space and out of time, I find my wings and learn to fly from a free fall. When I dive into a deeper field I dive into a deeper field of energy. When I dive into a deeper field of energy. When I dive into a deeper field of energy. So don't you worry, don't you fret. Trust me, I got no regret at all. Into space and out of time, I find my wings and learn to fly from the free fall. When I dive into a deeper field of energy.
Excellent. So I'm going to dive into the energetic field of gratitude. And I just want to thank Kristen Wilcock for her beautiful meditation today. I want to thank Reverend Amy Papadoupolo for stepping up to do platform today, as well as be our backup video moderator. Robin Brookhouse, thank you for the reading. A big thank you to Vicki Jeter for her talk today. We also want to thank our tech team, Debbie Conkle for video moderating, Jim Hetzer for YouTube moderating, Jay Westfall for hosting and all, like I like to say, all things Zoom. We also send out a special thank you to the musicians whose music we use, Gary Lynn Floyd, Jamie Lula, and Andra Day, because they've shared their music with us from YouTube today. And also thank you to everyone that's with us today or later watching for this Sunday celebration. If you're joining us for the first time, we welcome you. We would love to send you a welcome packet in the mail or with information about us, so you can contact the office or send a private Facebook message. Also, if you're not getting information about services, call the office or send us a private Facebook message and we'll correct that issue. So let's say our closing blessing together.
Margie?
Yes.
One thing before we go, how about you or I pray over the giving?
Oh, you know what? That would be an excellent idea. Reverend Amy, would you like to do that? I'm so sorry. I just jumped right in there. I was so excited.
It's all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have teenagers that are unloading the dishwasher right now, so I asked them to pause so I can say this prayer. So please join with me, and what a wonderful way to wrap up this service. What a wonderful way to hopefully wrap up all of our Zoom services. For there are no mistakes, there shall be no mistakes, and there will be no mistakes according to Ernest Holmes. So I just take this opportunity of a time to just give thanks, a time to just acknowledge all of the giving that we have all given over those last, 2 years of being on Zoom. Not only are we giving of our time, not only are we giving of our talent, and also of our treasures and of our money, but we're also giving of our hearts. I just take a moment to be so grateful, to say thank you, Spirit, for encouraging, nudging, and for those of us who, as we listen to that and we give, because what I absolutely know is that we are in that reciprocal process of giving and receiving. We circulate Spirit's energy just like the blood circulates in our bodies. So I speak a word of blessing on CCSL, a blessing that the giving continues, that the receiving continues, and that we are using the law and we are in that flow of abundance and circulation. I bless this. I say thank you for this, and thank you for everything that is on its way. With a grateful heart, and a little puppy yap yap, little puppy bark. I think the prayer is done. Please join me.
Exclamation point.
And so it is. Thank you, Reverend Amy. That was beautiful.
Mhm.
It just resonates the high of gratitude. So thank you very much for that. So we're going to go together, say our closing blessing. There's only one life. That
life
is God's life. That is
That life
perfect. That life is my life now.
And so
it is. So thank you for joining us today. And please enjoy our closing song, One Big Family by Gary Lynn Floyd and Jamie Lula.
Sing it if you know it. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey. Yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Yeah, yeah. Sing it. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See